Welcome to Wax Pro Uncut. My name is Erica.
And I'm Rachel.
This is season 2, episode 7. Wearing a little red, little Aries season going on here. Shout out myself. It's my birthday coming up. And also shout out to Rachel's hat girl. Can we just
isn't it
admire this
cute?
wax girl?
Yes. Coco and Ro. We'll put her handle. But she's got a whole series of like wax girl, hair girl, spray tan girl.
I love
an
it.
applicable hat for any service industry girly.
And
other really cute stuff. She's got like sports stuff and other funny patches and whatnot, but cute, right?
This is not a paid ad. So today's episode is going to be all around social media.
The devil
In disguise. So social media is always a hot topic because there's so much going on there, right? So you're like building your brand, trying to get clients, trying to stay relevant. It can be super overwhelming. We've had a lot of people ask us like, does it matter? And it does. I'm here to tell you it does. So we're going to talk about the ins and outs of that, personal versus business, social media, how to integrate the two.
Yeah. And I would just like to preface this entire episode by saying we still don't know what we're talking about. We are very much still learning. We have not cracked the code. We have not gone viral. We both still hope to make social media work for us. You know, it's like every day we're learning something. I think we are hunters and gatherers right now. We're just getting all the information. We're collecting as much as we can. We're trying to apply it. We're seeing what works. A lot of it is just like market research, figuring it out day by day. And so we are by no means saying what you are doing is not working or you should do it our way, because we don't even really know what our way is, but we'd like to give insight to what we've tried so far, what we feel like is working, that we know is working, where we hope to scale and continue to grow and continue to post and things like that. But it's a lot. It's really overwhelming. And I think as, you know, we've learned a ton through building Wax Pro Academy and trying to apply this knowledge to Wax Pro Academy. And then outside of that, take the knowledge and apply it to our own small businesses, Boss Aesthetics, Savage, Boss Salon. But it's a lot. It's figuring out what content to post, what's relevant, how to not copy other people, how to feel inspired by scrolling and get inspo, but not copy and paste and just take their idea.
And not get jealous.
The comparison is huge. I think that's really hard. And my biggest struggle is like, I scroll and scroll to try to find like inspo and be inspired. And I ultimately end up like worse off than I started. Then I'm like, I'm burnt out. Now I don't know what to post. I can't think of anything except for what she did. And I don't want to copy that. It's, you know, the algorithm and even these experts, people we hire, people we trust, accounts we follow. I don't know that nobody knows what they're doing. I think that a lot of people get really lucky. I think consistency is key. But actually cracking the code of what time to post, the geo tags, the hashtags, the actual content of what's being posted, sharing it to your story, the engagement before and after. You know, there's just a lot that goes into it. And we have some insight, but
yeah,
we are by no means claiming to know it all.
Exactly. Consider this a workshop, if you will. Another thing to remember is just because someone has 500,000 followers doesn't mean that they're monetizing. Doesn't mean
or they're real followers.
They're real. Just because they have likes doesn't mean they have dollars. So, you know, don't think that because you see an account that they have this like super successful business, because I know personally from literally business coaching and analyzing people, I feel like all I talk about is profit and loss sheets, but like I see their profit and loss sheets. It's like those likes, those follows do not transfer down to your bottom line.
No.
However, because we just spoke on our last episode about some antiquated things like Yelp and Groupon, people live online. You know, you have to have that presence. You know, you definitely have to establish yourself as a professional. You have to have a voice. People have to know what kind of business they're walking into. Like I mentioned previously, like they're going to potentially be like searching for a new waxer and they come across your Instagram and, oh, you're fun. And, oh, I love the space. And, oh, wow, look at the team there. I want to go there. Right. So it's relevant in that matter. But let's just break it down. So, you know, we have a personal account. maybe. And then you have a business account. And so how to differentiate like what to post on what, and do you mix the two? Do you not? So I'll kick off. So my personal Instagram account, I mean, it's not large by any means, definitely under 2,000 followers. I just know a lot of people, and I don't say that like in a bragging way, but I travel a lot. I meet people out. They ask me for my Instagram account. It's almost like a business card in a way, because like they're getting to know you as a person, right? So rather than an actual business, it's like you're giving them access to like who you are, what you're like, etc. But with that too, like I know some of my friends' personal social accounts where I'm like, girl does not look like that in real life. She doesn't even speak like that. And there's an aspect of it where it's like they're selling themselves and clout, and like I do it. Everyone does it to a certain degree. So being authentic on your personal social media is important, because if you do then share a business post, right? Or, hey, follow my business account. If you are likable and relatable on your personal, then they're going to be that more, interested in your business endeavors and support that. So I do mix my personal and my business accounts. I have all my business accounts linked to my personal account, in the instance that like my personal account has more engagement. There's more buy-in, right? Because those people have met me in the flesh, so they know what I'm about. They've had conversations with me, so they see my business handles on there. I have Biz Queen Consulting, which is my coaching. I have Savage Society, which is my aesthetics, and then Wax Pro Academy, which is what we do, baby. And then business, like we'll talk about that in a minute. But what about you with your personal?
Same. Yeah. My Boss Aesthetics following is not huge. I mean, I have less than 1,000 followers, but I also haven't like cultivated that account. I have a really hard time. And especially since we started Wax Pro, that took a backseat. It's really hard to keep up with all of it. And I don't have the bandwidth currently to do both. And so unfortunately my personal business has taken kind of a backseat, but if and when I do post Wax Pro stuff, Boss Aesthetic stuff, I definitely mix the two. I always repost everything on my personal account. It gets far more engagement. Same. I have, lots of people that love and support me in my personal life that then will like reshare it, like it, comment on it. And that engagement is there where it's not quite yet for our business accounts. And that's going to be a work in progress and something that we are trying to scale every day for the rest of our lives.
Right. A challenge that we've both had is that our business accounts don't reflect how we actually do business. Like, we have been in the industry a long time. We have banked on our personal relationships and establishing ourselves in real life, that Rachel and I both didn't start like personal branding or business branding till literally Wax Pro. And recently we hired a social media coach, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But like, we are old school in that way, that we didn't need social media. No, like, we built ourselves without it, but now we're like behind the ball.
Well, and it's a necessary evil. And I think, even Instagram, it's like, Instagram was it for our generation. And now it was like, what? Now TikTok has taken over, and I'm on TikTok, but I'm not like active on TikTok. I watch TikToks. How many times can I say TikTok? TikTok. And then like Snapchat, right, was really popular with like even younger than us. And there's just like, it feels like you can't even keep up. Like the moment you learn it, you live it, then it's like, oh, it's on to the next thing. And I get that's just part of like life, and that there will always be the next platform to learn and master. But it is really overwhelming. And I think it sets us back and maybe almost up for failure, because it's like, oh my God, I can't learn one more thing. It's just, it's a lot. So, but we were talking about like, can your business succeed in this day and age without having a social media platform? And I really don't think so. And not in this industry, and we go back to even we'll do another episode where we talk all about the people that have helped us build Wax Pro, being like Faye helped us do our website. And then we have like a social media guy, and we have, our videographer, Jacob, and someone else that did our photos. And there's all these people that have helped us kind of curate our brand and what our social media presence is going to be and to look like. But even the conversation when we started Wax Pro a couple of years ago and talking with Faye of like, are we going to do Google ads and like paid ads for Wax Pro, or are we going to boost posts and tackle Instagram. Those conversations within the last 2 years have changed 4 times.
Yep.
And so it's just like what we think we're doing might be working, and maybe it will, but we haven't given it long enough. Or maybe we need to shift gears. And the amount of people I've talked to that are like, oh my gosh, the moment you can get social media, meaning Instagram, Meta, to work for you, you're golden. The stuff will sell itself. The engagement will be there. People will follow you guys, and you'll be getting the information and the content into the right hands. But it's, again, a work in progress to get us there. And trial and error, lots and lots of trial and error.
Right. So we as business partners have to recognize our strengths and weaknesses, and we do. And ultimately, like, we make a really good balancing act. You know, I'm a lot of the gas, and Rachel will pump the brakes, because you can't be all gas, you'll crash, right? And so we're a really good balance in that way. Rachel's really good with the details. I'm really good with the vision. So together we work really well. But one weakness we both share is social media.
Oh my God, we hate it.
We literally cringe. Like, I feel like the podcast doesn't feel like social media, because it's just real talk, conversation. Like, we're in the comfort of, you know,
no, but
studio.
if you were to watch me recording the stories that I have to post on Wax Pro Stories, you would die. Like, it takes me 9 times. I'll be like, hey guys, stupid. Okay. All right. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey everyone. Nope. Like, I can't do it. And I'm alone in my car. I'm in my wax suite at the salon. It just, I am so turned off by it. I don't want to do it. And we have avoided it though as long as we possibly can. And so much feedback that we've gotten has been like, you guys have to be present on social media.
You can't ghost and post.
You can't ghost and post. You need to be engaging. You need to be, you know, doing this X, Y, and Z before you post, after you post. And that's like the tips and tricks we'll get into that we have been guided to thus far.
Yeah.
But it feels really cringy, and it's not natural. And I will say the only thing that is true is it does get easier the more that you do it.
Gets faster, you're more efficient.
It gets faster and more efficient, but it's just not natural. And I know that there's some people that can curate their feed or their, you know, online persona to not have to like speak. Like, they'll do like voiceovers, and it'll be like me filming the plant of like, I'm talking about the plant, and they never have to show their face. But I think people want to see our faces, and people want to know and get to know us and our story and who we are and why. And we could talk about it on the podcast clips, but a lot of the day-to-day following along and keeping up with people on socials is just a lot. It's where the industry is moving.
Right. I was just going to say that I'm like the opposite of you with like posting. I don't even think about it. I have to do it.
Oh, you do it once.
One time, post it, not look at it, because I don't want to get stuck in that. Oh, I don't like this. I don't like that.
That's me. Okay.
That's how much I hate it, that I'm like, post, you know, but
you're so brave.
No, I just different approaches, right? I'm like all gas, and she slows it down a bit. But I'm bringing this up because, you know, everyone can relate to that. That's creating content. And honestly, everyone's creating content. Like, even on your personal, what is that? That's content. You are adding, you know, photos or video reels or whatever. So I think it's super relatable. And I've never really seen anyone talk about like the behind the scenes nitty gritty, the stress about it, how uncomfortable
the anxiety. I'm like, this is really terrible.
Yeah. You just see the final product, and it's like, you know, they don't tell you about all the editing, and then like the beauty leading up to it, right? The lashes and the spray tans and all the things. And it looks so great at the end product, but the lead up is just so much. But because that's both of our weakness, and this is good advice to anyone in business, is you have to hire around your strengths and your weaknesses.
Outsource,
so
baby.
Because we've both found a weakness in that, we hired a coach. So our social media coach, who has been helping us, and we just really started a few weeks ago with him, Father Phil, shout out Phil. And, you know, he's really coaching us more on like, hey, you just have to do it. Like, you have to break through. I know it feels cheesy. It's going to get better. He's helped us with just like the actual strategy, and we had to build a brand.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about, like I said in one of the earlier episodes, not like the logo and the colors, but like the voice. Like, we have all this experience, but according to our social media, we ain't shit. Like, who are these girls claiming that they're wax pros? And we're like, no, really, like, we know what we're doing here. Oh, I
Auto
bleeped it
bleep.
out.
Auto bleep.
Auto bleep
She's
again.
getting good.
Getting good. So in saying that, you know, we just had to like build that brand, and it took a professional to look at it from the outside looking in, you know, and not our friends. They're so biased and kind. And
Everything you guys are doing
good.
looks great. My mom commenting on everything. Rachie, you look awesome. Thanks, Connie. Like, biggest
Connie.
fan, which we love and appreciate. All of our friends and family that do reshare, like, comment, all of that is great.
Much appreciated.
But to hire Phil and have him as an outsider coming in who literally audited our website, our socials. That was it, right? Our website and our socials.
And our pod.
And our podcast, yeah. And gave us a write-up of like, okay, here's the deal. And I was like, I can't read it. I'm texting Erica like, oh my God, just give me the cliff notes. Like, why do I have this visceral reaction in my body that like, I'm just like, I can't take criticism. Clearly we're uncovering here now on the podcast, but it's cringy. It's uncomfortable. It's like something that is already makes me feel uncomfortable, that I feel like I'm giving my best and I'm out of my comfort zone. And then to be critiqued on top of that just is hard. It just feels hard. But the good thing for us, because we're perfect, was the feedback was like really helpful, and it wasn't like awful. It wasn't like you guys are fat and ugly. It was like, hey, I think the lighting is too bright in this. Or like one of the things about our feed was like, you guys, I don't know what you're selling. And all I can tell from your social media, your meta feed, is you guys are pretty and you take really pretty pictures, and you're willing to spend money on professional photography, was one of the things he told us. And we were like, okay, valid. And we also didn't realize, he's like, look, static photos, just a photo, that's not a reel or a video. Even if it's a picture with music on it, those don't perform. No, those are like absolutely no. And again, like, and you might be watching this like, duh, we didn't know that. And there's probably a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I'm posting before and afters. Like, that's not what works. The reels are where it's at. People want storytelling. They want to watch a story. And one of the most profound things Phil has told us was, if it's either, it needs to be entertainment or education. And if it's neither, then you're screwed. Nobody cares. They're going to keep scrolling. You also have to hook somebody in the first 3 seconds of a video. If you don't do that, you're done. And even if you have a great hook, you could be done. People scroll. I mean, this is where I'm conflicted, and why I think I have a hard time with the social media stuff. If I didn't need it for my businesses, I probably wouldn't have it at all.
Me neither.
It is just the mass consumerism and the consumption that we're at. Really, it's a lot. And, you know, I have small children that I'm watching how their brains are formed in the YouTube and the scrolling and and it's like, of course they like that shit. We do. That's all we do all day long is scroll next. I'm like telling my husband, we need to cut YouTube out. I hate the way that they scroll through the video so fast. And he was like, where do you think they learned that from? They watch us. That's exactly what we do. That's what we're all doing. And so, yes, it's a necessary evil, but figuring out how to make it work for you and to be posting stuff that's relevant and intentional, the intentional content that's actually providing tips and tricks, education. I mean, yes, there's room for some of the funny stuff along the way, because that's just how you have to build. Because we're funny. But you have to build all of that. Sorry, that was a tangent and I kind of went off on it. But Phil has helped us assess kind of the foundation of where we're lacking, where we need to go from here, what performs better, and kind of teaching us the ins and outs of trying to learn the algorithm. He was really honest with us up front of like, look, I don't really do TikTok, but Erica has just taken everything we've done for Meta and just put it on TikTok, and it's performing. And TikTok's interesting because it gets a ton more engagement. The actual likes and comments are much higher than what Meta is. Meta is very like watch and don't engage. And like, you might watch it start to finish and you don't like it. I'm like, why?
You don't like us?
Pervert. I'm just watching it from the background.
Right.
But and so it's like, you feel like you learn Meta, but then you don't understand TikTok, whatever. It's a mixed bag. We're just trying to figure it out, just like everybody else. Phil is giving us tips and tricks to try to get there. Some of that being of like, you know, the advice of like, look, it needs to be a reel. It needs to be education or entertainment. And that way you can kind of curate your topics. Once you can kind of make a big brain dump of like, here's who I am. Here's who my target audience is. How do I create content that speaks to them? What problem am I solving? You know, make just like a massive list of all of these different real ideas and
then executing
them and setting up a time management of getting clients to practice on to then film the content, getting consent from the clients of how to do that. Maybe that's you pick one day a month, which is what we're doing. And you film a ton of your content in one day, scheduling, being organized, you know, all these things that it's a full on production behind the scenes. And it is a lot.
Yeah. I think the challenge I have with social media is like, number one, it feels fake. Because it is.
It's
People
a highlight
are
reel.
acting, they're doing funny things, right? And so I'm like, God, I don't want to feel like I'm just like
Another drop in the bucket.
you know?
Yeah.
And ultimately, none of that shit matters if it don't make sense. Literally money. So the way my brain thinks is like, how is this post going to then create a lead, someone that's interested in the product or the service you're selling? And then that lead, how are they going to buy the product ultimately? Because a lead, great.
If
Doesn't
it's not
really
a
matter
viable
if they're not
lead,
going to buy.
if
though,
they are not a
right?
viable lead, they don't mean shit to me.
Right. So to me, I'm like, okay, great. And this person has a lot of followers, likes this, that, but like, I want to talk business. How do they take all of that engagement, those likes, those followers, and then turn that into a customer, and beyond that, a repeat customer? And so that's where my disconnect is like, how do you bridge social media all the way to a sale? And so that, I mean, there's a lot that goes into that, like lead management and follow up and, you know, nurturing an email campaign and, you know, staying on top of it, right? Like they're a lead, you keep trying until they buy or they die. And there's like a whole sales cycle.
How morbid.
That.
Someone actually says that?
Car sales, baby.
Oh, wow.
I know. You forget. I'm a hustler.
Okay, that stopped me in my tracks.
Right. But in saying that, so like social media does not mean success.
Right.
It does not mean sales. And so how do you get those people again across the finish line? And so more to come on that. But back to the social media, you know, how to post, when to post, the time. There's all sorts of subjective feedback.
Right.
When
Well,
it's
like
popular times.
And even some of the feedback that Phil has given us of like, you guys, I want you posting no later than 10 a.m. where we're both like, okay, but we are been doing it 6 weeks really consistently. And we feel like 10 o'clock is not our time. I think our time is more like noon. I feel like our followers are way more engaging in the mid-lunch, early afternoon
right.
time.
And then TikTok's got its own thing. Because I
TikTok,
find that
those
when you
people are
post late,
freaks.
you post
the
late
midnight,
and
the
boom,
night crawlers.
for sure.
They're just ready to fucking fight on the internet.
They're ready.
Comment. So some of that in Phil's advice to us is yes, like what time to post. His advice to us was like between 8 and 10, but a lot of it is the engagement, right? And there's so much that goes on behind the scenes of social media of like bots. And so I think with this algorithm and social media push and engagement requirements, it's to weed out and alleviate, right, a lot of the bots that are running these accounts. And so his advice to us was you need to go on and you need to really engage thoughtfully with people in your industry for at least 15 minutes beforehand. And then you'll do your post. And then it's all about story posting, right? So you'll take your post and then you put it on your story. And then you need to do some sort of engaging post of like a poll, like questions, DMS if, you know, that. So it's like keeping up with engagement. And then he's like, and then people want to hear you talk about the reel. And so then we go on stories and we chat about, hey, I hope you guys saw our post about raising your prices, blah, 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 blah. And then after that, you engage with smaller name people in your industry. So people local to you, girls in Phoenix, people we used to work with. And
Follow,
this isn't
like their accounts.
yes, but like not just like fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji. It's like, hey girl, great tip. I love this. I like you're watching their video and their contents in their entirety. And that was a huge piece of it that we were missing. Like static posts were what we were doing and we were scheduling them. And so they just posted, you know, on a schedule. And that was a tip, insider tip that Phil was like, you guys can still schedule your posts. You just need to make sure that you're active and engaging before and after.
Right.
And I do think that has boosted our engagement a ton. We've seen, you know, kind of a steady, and that's the goal, is the steady organic following. We're not buying our followers. I'm not baiting anyone in to follow us. We want people to follow us that find our content relevant and interesting and funny
and useful
and they choose to follow us. And so we've seen that number slowly rise and it will continue to. We just have to be really consistent. And when we first brought Phil on, he had said like, look, you guys have been like stagnant, completely ghosting your account for I mean, at that point, I think it had been 2 months because we had kind of decided over the holidays we were going to rework some stuff in our courses and break them out into be like shorter form and different price points and stuff that will, come soon that we'll talk about. But when we made that decision, we kind of just stopped in our tracks and stopped posting altogether. And he's like, no, don't do that. Because when we do, kind of come up with a plan for you guys and retarget your posting strategy, it's going to feel like starting over. And we were like, okay, great. We stopped completely. And so, yes, when we got back on the ball of posting 5-6 times a week and engaging in stories and stuff, it really was like starting over.
Yeah.
So,
And mind you, we lost a lot of followers during that break, that 2-month break. We lost like 120 or something
which
like
is
that.
so bizarre because if we were not on there, how do you know to not follow us? Are
No
they
idea.
bots?
No idea.
Meta, if you work for Meta, let us know.
If anyone has better tips and advice around this. let us know.
Yeah. Again, they'll let us know in the comments for sure.
Right. And so again, we're not like claiming we're like pros. We're like
No.
actually being very vulnerable and sharing with you guys. Like so far,
We're scared.
Our fail. Mom, can you
We're
pick
scared
us
and
up?
we hate it.
But we're sharing our failures, right? And just like the reality of being a business owner in this day and age. And we're an online business. Wax Pro Academy is online. And so like building an online business is way different than building our organic like service brick and mortar, businesses. That's easier. People drive by, they see it, they come in for something tangible, right? Versus online, it's a very different experience. So
I think another helpful thing too that he's helped us kind of understand is a lot of our posts before were like, hey, we're Rachel and Erica and we're Wax Pro. And we sell these courses that we want to help it's like a continuing education platform. We want to help industry professionals learn how to wax. We want to build your confidence. We want to teach you the business side. Great, true, fine. Also, we have these courses, please buy them. Okay. And every post was like, here's what master course is. Here's what business course is. Buy them together. And it's this. And it was really like every post was really salesy and pushy. And he's like, no, no.
that's a no from me, dog.
Well, he's like, every single person on the internet is trying to sell you something. You don't want to be just another one of them. And even if you are, you have to do it in a way that is intentional. And you guys are 5 steps ahead. You need to go back. You need to build your brand. You need people to like you. They need to trust you. And he's like, I'm sorry to say, but it really is all about who knows you. It used to be, this was another profound thing that he told us. It used to be all about who you know. Now it's all about who knows you. Oh, I've seen those girls on Instagram. Oh, I've watched their stuff. I've seen their TikTok. They recognize our name or the hat or us. And they go, oh my gosh, yeah, I watched this tip or trick and it was relevant. They need to be able to reference back that, like, you talked about the compound marketing earlier of like, we need to be in their face enough and giving relevant, funny content that they would like to consume, not just like buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this.
Right.
That people are really turned off by that. And then be able to have it on our profile in a way that they're like, oh, I've consumed as much free content as I possibly could from them. Now I'm interested in their courses. So we're kind of, we're figuring all of that out. And also just exactly what the content is to post. It's like we're posting business advice. We're posting educational tips for waxing. And then the style of the reel comes in because it's like, is it me waxing a back from start to finish? Yeah. Is it now ASMR? Because people are super into that. Kinky little freaks.
Also, yes.
Also, yes. Are they the meme voiceovers? Is it just funny?
And you have to see what sticks. And that feels very uncomfortable for me because I've always been like such a strategist when it comes to business and like super intentional that social media is like throwing a bunch of shit out there and saying, like,
what
this
worked?
is what our audience likes to consume. Let's keep doing that. Right. And in 3 months, that trend changes.
Right.
Right. So you're kind of always chasing it. But
It's chasing
one
that high.
thing that I think is true in all of this, regardless, is being authentically yourself, your business, your voice, being consistent, right? So however, like whatever style of like reel you're doing or, whatever it is you're recording for your content, that you are just yourself. And ultimately that's going to attract the right people to work with, vendors, customers, and sometimes just supporters. Like, sometimes that's what the social media is. It's just like, hey, they support your brand. They might not be your ideal customer, but we appreciate that as well.
Yeah. And I think capitalizing on, resharing people's posts, liking comments, stopping to congratulate, to encourage, to whatever. I mean, that's huge for small business owners, whether that's our own independent businesses, whether that's Wax Pro, whether that's your neighbor that sells honey on the side of the road. You know, it's like, we need to remember there's real people behind these accounts. Most of them, some of them are bots, but there are, and we're all just trying to make it work. And I think that we can do it. It's just consistency, man. And we're going to kick and scream the whole way. And make no mistake, we want to be here. This is just one of those things that it's uncomfortable in the growth process of
building a business,
building a freaking business.
Right.
So,
and on the flip, on the contrary, there's also people that don't support you and want to see something. I believe they're called trolls. And so
keyboard warriors.
Is that it?
I don't know. Did I make that up? I feel like I saw that somewhere. I'm not going to claim that as my own. I'm pretty sure I saw it on a meme.
Keyboard warriors.
The keyboard warriors.
And so we are going to talk a little bit about that next.
Do you want to do it next?
Yeah.
Well, let's just do one more thing because I feel like we'll end with that.
Okay.
But I want to touch on quickly the AI stuff because there's like so much AI. And I think it's helpful to, maybe not helpful. Well, it is helpful. It is important to remember that AI is a tool that can work for you really well and help guide you. It's a tool. We are super proud that we wrote Wax Pro, literally every single bit of information on Wax Pro's courses came from our brains.
100%.
We did not use Wax or ChatGPT for
it wasn't even
thing.
accessible.
No, I didn't even know what it was. I mean, and have we used it for like helping us generate captions? Sure. Have we been like, tell us some questions we can ask each other, like for a blog post? Yes. Like there's ways to use it that are helpful, or like, can you give me like different poll examples for what things we should poll on like our stories? It helps with that, but sure. Actually generating the content in your voice of who your brand is. And if you're building something like a Wax Pro Academy, you just need to use it as a tool, not a replacement.
100%.
And ChatGPT could be great for, you know, helping you come up with some of these content creation ideas. Cause I know that that's super overwhelming to come up with, of like asking it to learn you, of like, ask me 20 questions about my business so that you can get to know me and my voice, and help me create reels for Instagram that are educational and will, you know, drive engagement and ultimately help me gain new clients. And ChatGPT will be like, great. How about you do reels about X, Y, and Z? Do you want me to help you make a social media calendar? Like use it in a way that,
like an assistant.
Yeah, but not a replacement. And I think there's a lot of like AI generated, or not, I know of like actual images and videos. And I mean, We've can been spot it.
If we're AI before.
Oh my gosh. When we did these ads originally, when we were doing like paid marketing on TikTok, there was a few ads. I mean, the lighting was fire. There was a filter on it, but there would be comments of like, is this AI? Like,
are you guys real life?
I'm flattered. You think I'm a robot. Fake. But we don't want that either. Like, I want people to know that it's us and that our content is generated by us, and it's, again, intentional. So I think AI can be, it has a bad, you know, kind of reputation, but I think that there's a way to really intentionally use it that can help. If you're someone that is really overwhelmed by the social media stuff, it will get you going. It'll at least get the gears turning.
It gets the people going.
But the gears turning and give you a foundation of kind of a starting point of content to create and keep you on track. So, and then consistency, you have to post every day. You have to engage, you have to respond. And if you don't, then the algorithm does not like you. She doesn't favor you. Another thing that I want to talk about quickly and tap in comment. It's tricky with bikini or intimate service waxing. You know, we've got a ton of really valuable information and a lot of great videos that we want to talk about and post and, you know, engage with our followers and potential, you know, students in the future who need help with Brazilian waxing. And it's really hard to talk about that stuff on social media because it gets flagged for like violating community standards because it's nudity. And so if you are a content creator or in the industry that has posted and you found success or loopholes or whatever that looks like, I mean, we just posted a reel that was like very tasteful. She was wearing disposable underwear and had her leg in a 4. I mean, it was like completely censored. And it was flagged and taken down within like an hour. And so I'm just wondering what, if any one of our viewers out there has insight to navigating that in any way.
That's a really great engagement question.
Engagement, please comment. Because then I've seen stuff on TikTok too, and there's like,
way more questionable.
So they're completely naked.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, the video that got taken down for us, was that like somebody literally reported it? Or are we too new? Or
Reveal yourselves.
I don't know. So if you have any insight, I would love to hear.
Yeah. Great question.
But okay, so circling back now to the engagement, and we talked about earlier, like the TikTokers, they comment so much more. And we now have made jokes in other podcasts of like, if we got that wrong, we'll definitely hear about it. Like we know that somebody's going to fact check us or comment because everybody's got something to say on the internet,
right?
Which is so funny to me, and not funny like ha ha.
Pop off,
no,
Rachel.
This pisses me off. I'm like, look, I don't even want to be here. You think I wanted to post that? I'm like, I was forced to make this content, and then you're going to talk shit to me about it. Like when you have posted stuff in the past, and she'll text me and be like, oh my gosh, the girls are going crazy on Instagram or on TikTok over this right now. I'm like, don't even tell me. What are they think I'm fat? Do they think I'm ugly? What are they saying? And she's like, no, they're like fighting in the comments about X, Y, and Z. And it's just crazy. Like I have never, ever stopped scrolling to like correct somebody in the comments or tell somebody that their content sucked or that they were wrong, or like it just blows my mind that there are so many people out there.
They have the time, baby.
They've got the time and they're going to use it. But we have to remember these clips that we're posting, you're watching a 30-second to a minute long just that
glimpse. It's a glimpse
into larger content. And so you are not getting the full context of what the video is about. And a lot of times, even if you do, people choose to nitpick and critique every bit of information that's out there. And so we've posted videos about other things, and the comments will get so derailed of people correcting us about sanitation, which we're going to like read them verbatim. But you have to let some of that roll off your back, which I'm not as good at as you are.
Well, yeah. So like a little advice around that too is like nothing's actually personal. Like they don't know us. These people live in fucking Maine and they're like in a cave somewhere, like just
in Maine in a cave.
Yeah. But it's not personal. And I handle all of them with tact because at the end of the day, like, okay, that's what social media is for. Like, we can't censor people. Please speak your mind. I could care less. But when you're wrong or demeaning or, are trying to make other people seem like they're not credible or professional, then obviously we have to address that. So, and we will. But I also worked for corporations for a very long time. So my responses,
they're so good. But it's so funny because, she'll text me and be like, oh my God, I'm hot. I'm heated. I'm going to work out. And then I'll respond, which I think is a great tip. If people are, a negative review, fighting with you in the comments, leave nasty captions, things like that. I think it is good to not answer when you're
not rapid response.
Yeah, don't rapid respond.
And same with negative reviews or if you're maybe employing other estheticians and they get a negative review and the, customers coming at you about someone else, like you don't have to respond right away. There's no like time ticking, there's no bomb that's going to go off if you don't respond right away. So yeah, cool off. And then respond very level-headed. Remember what you post online, whether that's an actual reel or, text that once it's out there, someone's got it screenshotted in their phone. It's never going away. People save receipts. Be careful.
Be careful out there. So the very first video that kind of went, we posted this video. It was a reel, and the topic was 15, why you can't be late to your wax appointment.
Right. And the discussion was, we do 15-minute Brazilians. And that's apparently a problem.
Well, so it started, that wasn't even the theme. Why you can't be late to your wax appointment. The theme of the reel was respecting your client's time and not letting a regular client run you over to then ruin your reputation with a first-time client coming in. So I'm telling the story of like, I have made the mistake in the past where I took a regular who I was doing them a favor. They ran late. They made me run late into my next client who was a first time guest. I looked like shit to that client. And so just upholding the same level of professionalism and enforcing your policies so that everybody gets the same service and that then your reputation is upheld.
Right.
And in this conversation, the sound bite was, I do my Brazilians in 15 minutes. If you're late, I run behind. If I run behind, I'm late for my next client. And the only thing that a lot of these girls on TikTok got from this video was, oh my God, they don't sanitize.
Right.
They do.
You do a 15-minute Brazilian.
Oh my gosh, they ate us alive on the internet for this. And we were like, oh, right, relax. So what if I do? I'm a speed waxer.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry you don't.
Right.
It was crazy.
You're
Let
so
me
greedy.
read it. Oh, okay. So
Rachel, you're greedy.
greedy little bitch. Okay. So the first response was, as a good person. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Cut that out. I'm reading the wrong. That's the next one. Okay. Personally, I've switched waxers for waxing me in less than 15-minute increments. Unprofessional, gross. I don't want to be rushed. Next comment. If you only book slots long enough for your appointment time, you're leaving no time for sanitation or setup, wiggle room. 15-minute intervals are insane. All capitals. People run late. Things can happen. Fine. I feel like you're adding unnecessary stress to yourself. 15-minute is ridiculous for a Brazilian. Rushed services are a no. All capitals. 15 minutes is insane, especially if you take proper infection control. Your greed shouldn't be your customer's problem. That one really set you off. And it's just like, again, we have to remember they didn't even watch the whole clip. They didn't take away what we were hoping that they would from it.
Right.
It was their choice to decide that that is what we meant. That is not what we meant. We, of course, follow sanitation protocol. We, of course, build in time.
We have customer service. We have wiggle room. We actually put blocks in after, services to fill wax pot and to clean. And so, again, you're getting a glimpse of a larger picture. You don't get the full context. If you want to learn something, watch an entire episode in its entirety.
And then go talk shit to us.
If you
That's
have
fine.
questions about how do you accomplish sanitation in this time, I could tell you exactly. It's like a dance. It's a rehearsal. You get in the flow of it. A good analogy is like, let's just say you're trying to run a mile in less than 7 minutes. And maybe you haven't ever trained. So your first mile is probably going to be in about 15 minutes. You're jogging, you're walking, you're walking, you're building your endurance, right? Then you shave your time and you get to 12 minutes and eventually 10, and it's taking a long time, but you're training. Perhaps you invest in good running shoes. You're watching videos on how to change your technique, how to breathe, how to eat better, how to recover, rest time, all the things. And eventually you get close to 7 minutes. And then one day you're finally under 7 minutes because you trained to get there. In the same vein, when you become a pro, which is our business, Wax Pro, we have literally each put in, when I tell you 16 years each in this industry, training for this. There is no cutting corners. We sanitize to like the utmost possible level. We treat our customers well, hence why we have businesses. We do all the things. We train girls on this. So, a 15-minute Brazilian is not dangerous if you're trained well. Your customers don't want a 45-minute Brazilian with you yanking their pubic hair out. If you're not about your money, again, you have a hobby, not a business. So if you're not about your money, I don't know what you're doing in the industry. Like, you literally are running a business. So if you let one customer be late into the next customer, you're disrespecting the second customer. That's ultimately what we were getting at. So we wanted to double back to some of these comments because it's very important to us that we maintain our integrity, what we represent, and not let, people on social media influence anybody in any way, shape, or form. However, you can't control what everyone says or thinks, or their ignorance, or their ability to look at a 15-second video and make an assumption about an entire company or person. That's just, a poorly educated consumer, and it happens.
It does happen.
Bless them.
Well, yeah, you guys are so greedy. I don't take that lightly. Like, of course I'm greedy. I work for myself. If I wasn't greedy, I would be working for somebody else and making money for them. I'm making money for me.
And they would be greedy and make you do more and more and more and more.
Yeah. And when I said I did 15-minute Brazilians, I didn't say I book my Brazilians in a 15-minute increment and I don't have time to sanitize or transact or rebook.
And we also say, fuck you if you're late.
Yeah.
I didn't bleep that one out. Dad.
Let them hear it.
Dad, I'm sorry.
So anyway, that was that one. And then there was another we talked about the don't try this at home, client horror stories of people trying to wax themselves when we have clients that will reach out and say, like, what can I buy on Amazon that I can do myself at home? And I was like, look, I'm not going to give somebody advice of how to replace me by buying products I can't stand behind to do a service at home. We went to school for a reason. I can't control the temperature of your wax, how sanitary your workstation is, what aftercare you have, your technique. I can't control any of that. I'm not going to guide you on how to do that. Anyway, that clip, again, was taken out of context. This woman says to us, as a good person, you should help people who have gotten in a situation and be thankful they trust you to help them with products. To be honest, tell them that it's dangerous. You'll most likely hurt yourself. Don't say, quote, I'm not going to help you, end quote. You sound so money hungry. This is why people criticize the beauty industry so much, because women like you just judge. Why is it so hard for you to be nice? And I'm like, wait, this is why people criticize the beauty industry. I'm like, who's criticizing the beauty industry? Am I missing that conversation?
Yeah. Miss that bus.
I know. And just so money hungry. Again, we did not say that we're not going to help our clients. I'm saying I'm not going to tell them what to buy on Amazon. This is Erica's response, which just take note. We apologize you didn't get the full picture of this clip. For context, we absolutely advise and help people if they do ask us for it. We simply do our best not to dilute the industry by recommending non-professional products. Lastly, it can be a liability to recommend treatment, so just be very careful of recommending and be sure to tell them to see a doctor if something is severe. Mm-hmm. Chef's kiss. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Where I would text her back and be like, look, bitch. She's
so
like, okay, I'm not going to say that.
You are a mean girl.
I'm a keyboard warrior.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
You're
not
so
at all.
full
I
of
just
shit.
told you I never have commented on anything other than like, you look great, girl. Mm-hmm. No, I'm a girl's girl. I build people up. I comment nice things. I don't ever stop to critique or, if, you were watching our last one and we didn't know it was seat of your pants or seat. And you're like, haha, girls, it's seat. Funny. But to be like, you don't sanitize, you're the devil. Mm-hmm. Like, who are you to tell people what to do in this industry? It just is crazy to me because you're seeing a highlight reel. You took from it the wrong context. Mm-hmm. And it's funny. And then the girls fighting within the comments too are just,
madness.
It's just interesting. Yeah. So,
I mean, key takeaway here is like, this is why we hate social media. It's like, can you believe that this is our reality on a day to day?
Yeah.
It's
no,
madness.
I'm just kidding. No,
it's madness.
No, but what we're going to keep doing is we're going to trust the process. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep showing up. We're going to keep making content. We're going to keep figuring out what works for us. What works for us could be different than what works for you. Mm-hmm. We're going to try different styles of reels. We'll try different hooks. We'll try different songs. We'll try different videos. We're doing it.
But there's one thing that I'm really confident about is we know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah. Agreed.
If you want to be a wax pro, let me tell you something. 32 years now. That's crazy. Because when we first started, we were like, wow, we've been doing this 30 years collectively. Now it's 32 years. And we're still learning every day. But if we can help any esthetician, cosmetologist, and maybe even someone outside of that, again, you're just providing a service, like build your business and follow the steps that we did to have a good foundation rather than just trying to figure it out. Like you could start at a platform here rather than down here. Mm-hmm. We dug ourselves all the way up to where we're at now. And ultimately that's what we're sharing with you is like the platform, start up higher. We want everyone to be successful. Like Rachel said, she's a girl's girl. I'm a guy's girl. And we really support any entrepreneur who's trying to make it on their own. This is tough.
Yes, it is. So comment, like, follow.
Or I'll see you in the TikTok comments.
Yeah. Comment in the TikToks. Be nice to us, please. I can't take much more. That's it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.